Hey everyone, we're live. My name is Grace Chaves. I'm New Release Today's news editor, and I'm super excited because today I'm going to be talking with Austin Joyce for Discover New Music. And if you don't know what that is, every month I've been going live with independent artists to talk about their music and their ministry, and I'm super excited that today I'll be having on Austin Joyce, and he's a new up-and-coming hip-hop artist, and I'll be talking to him today about his latest singles and his latest music and all that stuff. So just a disclaimer real quick, if I look really tired or if I seem out of it, it's because I am. I'm currently operating on like 2 hours of sleep. I did not sleep good last night. So hopefully this goes over okay. I got my interview questions, so we should be fine. But I'll wait for Austin to come on and we'll get started. Thank you all for joining us today. And if you have any questions for him, you can drop a comment below. It's just going to be a quick live stream to get to know him and his music. And if you haven't checked out his music yet, you can go do that now. His latest singles are called Struggle and Summer Love, and I'll be talking with him about that today. So let me send this over to him real quick, and whenever he comes on, we can get started. Let me see. Okay. All right. And like I said, you guys can comment down below if you have any questions at all. During this live stream, I'll be checking the comments and we can answer any questions that you guys might have. And I see he's on here, and I'm going to add him on real quick, and then we can get started. Okay. See if that works. Hey.
What's up? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty well. It was a change of scenery. I'm in Atlanta right now instead of my house,
nice.
So I had to figure out how to set this up here. But we're all...
Where are you from?
I'm from Greenville, South Carolina. So
nice.
I'm not probably like 2 hours from Atlanta, something like that. But I'm staying at a friend's place.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. How are you doing?
Good. Like I said this at the beginning, but I'm like super tired. I'm like running on 2 hours of sleep. I did not sleep good last night, so hopefully this goes over okay. But other than that, I'm doing good.
You're gonna crush it. Don't worry.
So first, just tell us about yourself and how you got started in music.
Yes, definitely. So let's see. Last year, everyone went through the corona. Crazy time for everybody, I'm sure. But right kind of in the middle of it, and it wasn't due to corona, my dad ended up passing away last April. And there was a lot to do with like something that happened at the dentist and them giving him the wrong version of Novocaine and stuff. And so he was actually a singer growing up, and his song was like top 30 in the country for the year. And he was like way older. He had me really late in life, but he really inspired me to want to do music. But I was always kind of scared what people would think, scared what like family, friends would think, all that type of good stuff. And so I ended up going through with it after he passed away, and I felt really convicted about like never doing it, because the ultimate reason was because I wanted to bring glory to Christ through it. So I ended up really going after music, and I put out a song that was dedicated to my dad, and it was able to really connect instantly with all my family friends, which was really cool because I was really scared about how they would perceive rap music in general. And so after that, it became something that I really started taking time to. I was at Clemson, and I was working towards my degree there and everything like that. But basically, like, God kept opening doors through it, and it's came to a place now where I'm excited to hopefully maybe do it full time at some point. But as doors are opening, like, I'm really enjoying and kind of like the many blessings and the many triumphs that are coming through it. So it's been really cool.
Nice. And you said how this kind of started after your dad passed away, and it's so cool how like even hard situations like that, God can use it and has big plans for it all. So it's great.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, he really blessed me through a lot, and honestly, without being dependent on him, I think it would have really crushed me a lot more, just like emotionally and mentally. But I understand like the concept of death and how it's inevitable, but like what happens to you afterwards, especially as a believer in Christ. So been good.
Yeah, and then you have 2 new singles out called Struggle and Summer Love. Just tell us the stories behind those 2 songs.
Yes. So I would say Struggle was kind of the first song that really pushed my name on the scene and just CHH Christian hip hop culture. So Struggle was kind of coming out of a place where in our mind we have a lot of these like back and forth battles, I think mentally and spiritually, just like with falling into temptation, falling with the ways of like the bad one or the evil one per se. And then there's the other side where we actually are able to conquer it through Christ, and he redeems us through the times that we do fall. And so Struggle is kind of this back and forth between, okay, I've fallen all of these times and his grace is sufficient and I've conquered it, but I'm still falling regardless. Like through life, you're going to have your ups and downs. And so Struggle is almost that back and forth battle, like throughout the end. And that's why in the chorus kind of is like replays in my head all over again. I'm trying to fight my way out, but the devil keeps pushing me back and he wants me to sin. And it's just this constant revolving door of like falling into a hole in temptation. But also at the end of it, talking about how Christ like redeems us through it all and his grace is sufficient. And it's super easy for us to get almost like down ourselves and think way too hard on those things to where we think we're not good enough yet. God is the only reason that we are anything in general. And so that song was really cool. And like I said, it did really well, especially in like the Christian hip hop scene. So it was really good time for me. And I was able to have some really cool conversations with people through it too. And then Summer Love. So Summer Love, I actually lead high schoolers at my church. And I've had many conversations with various high schoolers at my church about relationships they were getting into. And kind of a common theme would be, I'd be like, what's your end goal for this relationship? And they wouldn't have one. And so I was really confused by that. And I would have follow-up conversations with them. And I would realize like a lot of these kids and young adults are getting into relationships with no end goal. And when someone breaks up with the other side, someone gets really hurt or is kind of resentful towards the other party. And it ends up being this whole debacle, ruins friend groups, and it can easily be avoided by someone just being intentional about how they pursue someone. And so Summer Love comes out of a place where it's almost first person, and it goes through like little steps in the relationship, and then also the kind of thoughts and doubts that people would have inside of those relationships, and how like the whole time we were seeking the other significant other's approval, guy's approval or girl's approval, no matter what it may look like. And at the end of the day, like Christ's approval should have been the main thing we were seeking all along. And so it's a lot more chill and laid back than Struggle. So I feel like they're very polar opposite songs, but both were really like awesome to put out because I think they tended to different crowds. And Summer Love was cool because I was able to have some really cool follow-up conversations through that song as well. So it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you started releasing music during the pandemic. What has that experience been like?
So releasing music during the pandemic was interesting, but I also thought it was a really cool opportunity too, because I felt like people were kind of forced to be inside. And sadly, but true, like most people were on social media on their phones. And I think in my mind, it felt like a really depressing time because I think people can kind of get in their own head, especially being locked up. Like God says, like man should not live alone. And I feel like a lot of people were very lonely during that time. And so with the pandemic, I do think it allowed me to release music and it to be reaching more people than it might have been if there wasn't one. But also kind of understanding there was no touring going on or anything like that. It was just you release music and you talk about it on social media. And there was cool things like lives and stuff like that. But I didn't really start doing lives until this year and really seeing the like value in it. But I would say it was tough just because of the touring side and not being able to meet people face to face. But at the same time, I think it was a good time for new artists to come about because you were always creating, you were kind of locked up and you couldn't go to many places. So I think a lot of cool ideas have come out of that already. And I'm excited because I think a lot of people are still working on stuff that they probably were working on during Corona. So that's kind of how it was for me. I'm sure it looks different from all sorts of people, honestly. But
Yeah, it
And
seems like the
yeah.
pandemic was a really interesting time for artists because I saw like I would click on Instagram and there's an artist like live on social media like every single time I clicked on there and
Yes.
people were getting their name out for sure.
100%. And like your followers get alerted, people get alerted. And so, I mean, I think people really utilize the time
Mhm.
well. It's just like it was a quick adjustment. I think a lot of people were kind of caught off guard, like, oh, I can't go on tour. How am I going to reach new people? How am I going to go to these cities? You know, I didn't have to worry about that as much because I was just getting started. So
Mhm.
it wasn't as big of a nuisance for me, but also I just think the whole pandemic in general just kind of weighs heavy in terms of like outside of music, you know, the
Mhm.
effect it had on people's lives. So.
Mhm. And then what's next for you and your music? Do you have any upcoming projects?
Yes, so I've been releasing a few singles. I know this past summer, like beginning of it, Struggle came out, Summer Love came out, and then I just released a single in the beginning of July. But I have a really cool song coming out at the end of this month, and it'll be my first feature ever, which is going to be really dope because it's the first time I'm actually getting into that realm of music, and I'm getting really connected inside of the industry. And so as that happens, I'm basically going to continue to grow and establish relationships. And my favorite part about establishing relationships is a lot of people don't know what it's like to be in the shoes of an artist unless they were
Mhm.
actually doing it.
Yeah.
And so what's really cool is like I want to continue to build a community of people that are doing the same thing, but also are able to be accountable with each other. Because I think we're missing that a lot of the time. And so next steps, I'm going to be working on singles. I have already kind of locked up a few features to end out the year and hopefully getting a little short EP or project coming out. But that's not like super set in stone
Mhm.
as of now. I just have a few songs already done, but we'll see. We'll see what God leads me to do. I want to continue to be prayerful about like kind of next steps in music too,
Yeah.
because it's easy to just want to put out stuff to do it and hope
Mhm.
people like it, you know. But continue to be patient with where He has me because it's been dope.
Mhm. Well, that's really exciting, and I'm excited to hear the new stuff.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot.
And then I have some rapid fire questions. I always do this on every live stream, just some quick rapid fire questions about
Yeah,
your favorite things and all that. So, you ready?
for sure. Let's get it.
Okay. Favorite book other than the Bible?
Oh, man. Okay. Well, C.S. Lewis just has incredible books, so I'd have to say the Screw Tape Letters. I'm very into, you know, thinking from the opposite mindset of like, okay, the devil knows us more than we think, and he attacks us in various ways that we don't expect. And so that book's incredible because of that.
I haven't read the Screw Tape Letters yet. I've read a lot of C.S. Lewis books, but I
Oh,
still need to read that.
that is a top that you got to read it. So
Okay.
good, so good.
And then all-time favorite song.
Oh my goodness. Oh man, I would say right now, I don't know about all time favorite, but there's a song called Change by NF, and I think it really kind of goes through like the ups and the downs of your life and kind of how it changes. But at the end of the day, like the reason, you know, you might be falling or failing, it's because you're like lack of like time with God. And I think that song really portrays that trail pretty well. So
Mm,
I would say that song right now for me.
nice. And favorite food.
Favorite food, I mean, ice cream's incredible, I guess. I wouldn't eat that every day, but
I agree.
it's super good.
And who are some of your musical inspirations?
Musical inspirations. I'd say like when I first started, like growing up, I listened to a lot of secular music, and I really tried to get away from that the past few years, just because subconsciously it really does weigh on your mind. And so growing up, I pretty much listened to everybody. And, you know, like me growing up in South Carolina, I mean, I listened to like J. Cole and Eminem and Drake and everybody. But now I think I've really grown to a place where I try to listen to a lot of different kind of music. Like Chris Renzema is
Mhm.
incredible. Uh, I even listen to like way more country now than I ever did before. But like really expanding my genre taste, I think is going to actually like push me to be better creatively. And so, I mean, like the Eminems, the NFs, like they're incredible artists, but I really want to try to continue to form a more creative like side of myself. And I think kind of putting someone in a box is tough to do. Like even like what's his name? Michael Bublé. Like I grew up on him and I absolutely loved him growing up. So we'll see how I incorporate it. But right now I don't have like super big inspirations, but I think I listened to a lot of secular stuff growing up. And now like I really branched out, and like Andy Mineo, Lecrae, all the big CHH names are dope artists too, but they all are doing their own thing too. So it's been really cool. But I don't really have a specific, I'd say.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Wide genre, right?
Yeah, wide genre.
And favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Ooh, the Czech Republic, because I did the summer camp there and met all these incredible Czech high schoolers. And honestly, just like a village of like 30 houses only was one of the most peaceful experiences I've ever had, and being cut off from everything. And it was beautiful. And so I was like, man, I remember walking outside one day and I was like, I could live here. This would be incredible. And I never thought I would think that, until you experience it. So I went to Italy. It was up there, but I don't know why. I think it was just the people and the location, and just like being cut off from everything was awesome for me. But
nice. And I always say I've never traveled outside of the country before. Like I live on the West Coast and I haven't even traveled to the South before. But
really? Where are you at?
I'm in Las Vegas.
That's where my sister lives. That's crazy.
Oh, cool.
Yes, that's so sick. Well, you should definitely try it, especially now that hopefully plane tickets are still somewhat cheap. I don't really know.
Yeah, I haven't looked in a while.
Same.
I know. I remember when they were like $5, like during COVID. Like, should have got on a plane then.
You could have done so much traveling. That'd be incredible.
And favorite Bible verse?
Favorite Bible verse is probably 1 John 4:8. It's basically like, if one does not love, then one does not know God, because God is love. And I think kind of the primary calling of us as Christians, is the Great Commission is to make disciples. The first and foremost is to like love those around us, and you're not making disciples unless you're doing that. And so I really want to love people like Christ loved me, and that's why I think that verse is always stuck in my head for as long as I know.
That's a good one.
Yes.
I mean, the whole Bible's good, but that's a good one too.
Whole Bible is very good. It's just like God is love. Love is God. It's just like literally you can live your life out just from that verse alone. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's great. And this is not a rapid fire question, but how can we be praying for you?
Yes. I think for me, as I continue to grow as an artist, I'm definitely going to be faced with like new trials, and I don't really know what those look like yet, but at the same time, like I know that pride can easily play its part in just like any artist, as they get bigger, as people follow them or fans. And so I really want to continue to be like humble and rooted, because it's super easy to get undisciplined, especially if you're super busy. And so probably discipline and like continuing to maintain like being humble and rooted in the Lord are probably the biggest things that they could be praying for sure. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
We all need it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll be praying for you, and I'm sure staff will be too. And it was so great getting to talk with you today.
Yes, it was great talking with you too. Tell Kevin, thank you so much. And I appreciate everything you guys are doing over at New Release today. Y'all have been incredible.
Well, it's been great getting to talk with you, and I hope we'll stay in touch and talk to you soon.
Yes, let's do it. Have a great day.
You too.
See ya.
Bye.